it actually doesn't even matter how you spin it right now in relation to the Bitcoin charts. The Bitcoin momentum on the daily looks really nice. Bitcoin targets look really nice. Bitcoin higher high target and even just a swing low target looks really nice. And I want to break down these things in this BTC video. And I think what I want to say first on the monthly before we really start diving in, and we're going to look at a 6-hour chart with short-term targets, the next move for Bitcoin. But the first thing I just want to say is at any given time, I think it's so important to just know where we are from a timeline perspective. We have the halving over here, less than a year, but still a ways to go. But the other thing integrated with the timeline of Bitcoin cycles that I think is really crucial to just analyze or at least be mindful of is what's the narrative right now. And I think as for me personally, when I'm trying to really decipher, are we going to have a 2019 style consolidation into this next halving? Or is it going to be a more 2015, 2016 consolidation into next halving? When I'm trying to figure that out, I think the answer for me, at least in terms of likelihood and what to anticipate, the answer lies within narrative. And right now, Bitcoin has a very strong case in terms of narrative. That is to say, SEC right now basically singling out Bitcoin as just this commodity, really separating it from altcoins at this stage of the cycle. We see everything going on with the spot Bitcoin ETFs. All these organizations just refiled. If one of them gets approved, that plays into this narrative. And I'm talking about kind of a short to midterm narrative on the macro, on this monthly. That is to say, what happens in here? And that could really, really play into more of a reflection of a 2016 Bitcoin move going into the halving. That is to say, potentially continued higher highs as opposed to that last cycle consolidation, right? So I just want to start with that. Now, on this monthly chart, I think what is really helpful just to look at that's happening right now, this is a huge move, actually a couple of really big moves happening on the monthly. We have the MACD crossing above that red signal line on the monthly chart. We have this first green candle above zero on the histogram. First green candle since 2021. And notice that was basically on the way down, right? That was kind of this histogram failing, MACD getting ready to just put in this huge bearish cross. So really, the last time we even got anything similar to this candle that we're seeing here, the last time that happened was July of 2020. Now, just for context, bull market doors being broken right here. So pre-bull market was the last time we got this type of move on the MACD. That is a huge move. Simultaneous right now, Bitcoin back above this 20-month moving average. This was such a big macro move we needed to see for Bitcoin. There's 28 days, 10 hours left of this monthly candle. It will be crucial for Bitcoin to close above this area. Right now, it's around $28,500. That's a 20-month moving average. It's a really critical area for Bitcoin on the macro. And I say that simply because if you look at this Bitcoin chart, when Bitcoin is kind of in this bullish environment, and it is so true on any zoomed out chart. You go to a weekly, same is true for the 20-week moving average. But that green line, truly, we want to see Bitcoin get that separation from this green line. That's where these moves, these bullish moves that everybody wants to see, that's what's happening. Bitcoin's getting that nice overextension from that area. But at the very least, we want to see support at the 20-month to set up for the bullish move. So critical area for Bitcoin, 28,500 or so. Let's go to the daily, and then we're going to look at the zoomed in 6-hour targets. This is the daily chart. And if you just look, coming out of this bear market low, Bitcoin has just put in really nice structure of higher highs and higher lows. What I wanted to point out on this daily chart was a similarity I just spotted back in March. So you can just see this swing low to swing high, which actually put in structure of this upper trend line, right? So we have this kind of starting point of this trend line with these little swing highs. We have this swing high kind of created this second area for this yellow trend line. Kind of becomes important on our short-term analysis, this move for Bitcoin to this area, $33,000, $34,000. But notice this swing low to swing high. If we open up even our momentum oscillator, we can go to our RSI. You start seeing a little bit of a similarity, and that is to say, kind of coming out of this lower consolidation region, touching overbought line up here, and Bitcoin most recently from this same lower trend line as back here, making this move to the upside, hitting this overbought line and consolidating. So we're kind of right here in terms of the Bitcoin chart. It's a consolidation. And if we look at what's really happening there, what's happening? It's the same thing that continuously happens when Bitcoin gets overextended from the 20-day moving average. Bitcoin pulls into it. That's happening right now. Bitcoin got overextended from the 20-day moving average, and you can just see they're pulling into each other. There might be some sideways trading continued on this daily chart, waiting to see how Bitcoin meets that 20-day moving average. One thing I know though, if you kind of just take our bars pattern from this swing low to that swing high, you can just see this, and obviously the volatility, the extent of it will be a little bit different, but you can see the continued higher high, higher low trend for Bitcoin could very much be in play. And there's our $33,000 to $34,000 target if we get a similar move in terms of momentum and in terms of increased price on Bitcoin, right? So this general area up here. What's cool about it is you go to a 6-hour chart, this 6-hour consolidation plays into that, right? So who knows exactly when Bitcoin on this chart will meet exactly this 20-day moving average we're talking about, right? But what I do know is this: whether Bitcoin trades sideways into it, falls to it, we have this setup of consolidation. And just notice, and you can just talk about downside. Bitcoin falls out of this channel to around $28,000 to $29,000. Well, what's happening? Bitcoin's falling into, let's zoom out, the rising wedge apex, right? So going back to the daily chart, Bitcoin would be falling into this rising wedge apex if we hit the target to downside, at the same time testing the 20-day moving average, and maybe even potentially in between the 50 and the 20-day moving average. It's a very common move for Bitcoin. So you can see Bitcoin just is always doing something like that. Even back here in January to this swing high, falling back into in between these moving averages before that next swing high. So that's to the downside. To the upside, if Bitcoin does break out, we have this target to the upside right below $33,000. But you can see just above there is this area, that upper trend line of that yellow trend line that we charted that goes all the way back here to July. So Bitcoin, this higher high target is very much in play. And if that were to be the case, that's where I'd be looking for the most resistance on the shorter term. Anything outside of that, we can kind of discuss in another video. If Bitcoin were to actually explode through that area, that could be an incredibly strong bullish move for Bitcoin. But I'd be anticipating resistance in the $33,000 to $34,000 range if Bitcoin is to get a breakout out of this consolidation, right? Again, similar to this move right here, similar in general to the move that we just looked at on this daily chart. So boom, right to this yellow trend line, boom, right to this yellow trend line. And if you see on this daily chart, what really is kind of seemingly forming is an even larger rising wedge than this white rising wedge that we've been tracking already. So a lot of higher high, higher low movement happening on the Bitcoin charts in bull environments. A lot of people tend to just, with these structures, kind of get a little wary that there's going to be a huge break to the downside. There very much could be, right? We need to evaluate support in these areas. But in bullish environments for Bitcoin, anytime you see higher highs, higher lows, Bitcoin oftentimes, I would say, if we're looking at bull markets, right, oftentimes just explodes out of higher highs, higher lows for continued momentum to the upside. So it's not something that would surprise me if Bitcoin did make the move to the yellow trend line, and then not only that, break to the upside out of that area. So that's for a more macro video, macro targets, all that good stuff. But this is what I'm watching in the short term. It's kind of how all the charts tie together for me. Wanted to cover it in this video, especially as Bitcoin's kind of just consolidating right now, not a ton happening. Thought it would be valuable just to discuss upside targets on the short term, downside targets, and just tie it all together in terms of Bitcoin. So Huge moves happening on all time frames. Let me know your thoughts, everybody, in the comments below. And if you're not a subscriber, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like, hit that link in the description. Working on something special for everybody. So I appreciate all of you. Hit the subscribe once again. I'll see you in the next video. God bless.